2005's Fantastic Four is Marvel and Fox's second attempt at the Fantastic Four. And they made a lot of changes from their previous iteration. And starting off, the cast of this movie is actually pretty good. I don't think out of between the main Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom that there's a bad casting amongst them. I know that Jessica Alba got a lot of hate when she was cast, but frankly, she did pretty good in the role. I think she did the best with what she was given, and I don't think the race of any of these characters except for Doctor Doom really matters. I feel like they could be changed and there'd be really no issue with their story. And her being Latina really doesn't matter whatsoever. It's just a shame of how terribly Jessica Alba was treated on set, just with the director. It's just awful. I'm glad she at least stood up for herself and refused to make the third one.
First of all, Jessica Alba, and I say this a lot about a lot of actresses, but Jessica Alba truly is just one of the most beautiful women on earth, at least in my opinion. And I never thought that she was a bad actress. I think she's done some shitty roles, but most actors have. And yeah, she was treated pretty crummy on the set. When she was cast, I did think to myself, I wonder why they went the Hispanic route, because she clearly is. Um, but I didn't mind her as Susan Storm. I actually really liked that she was kind of the heart of the family, the movie, if you will. And she looks fantastic. I thought the first I remember I was into Wizard magazine. I don't know if you guys know what Wizard magazine was, but it was like TV guide for like comics. And the first shot I got of her, well, of the four of them in their suits was in Wizard magazine. And I just remember thinking, damn, yeah, I mean, that's the Fantastic Four. I liked the way they all looked. And when I watched the movie, yeah, it's got a lot of flaws, but I think she's probably my favorite character in the movie. I think she's great, and she plays really well off of all the other characters. I mean, with the rest of the team, with her brother Johnny, with Ben, with the scenes that she's got with Reed, and even some of the scenes that she's got with Victor, character wise, I think she was as well written as possible. But the director just the way his style of directing is what, really interfered. He would make her cry on set, said that she wasn't being funny enough, that she wasn't being loving enough. And yeah, there's just when you make your actress cry, and she's unwilling to come back for a third one. The cast, they all came together and they were like, if she doesn't come back, we won't come back. So that's why we didn't get a third one. And then that's why later on we got the Baby Fantastic Four reboot. My issue with Susan Storm is an issue that Griffin brought up that I had almost forgotten about yesterday. So she's a very powerful superhero. She could create force fields. She could, turn invisible, things like that. Why she gets a damn nosebleed? And then having seen what the director's excuse for it is, he said it's because she's focusing too hard. It still doesn't make any fucking sense as to why she would get it. You could focus really hard on something and never get a nosebleed. So it's stupid.
Absolutely. It's the same complaint we have for Jean Grey. We don't get why they make powerful female superheroes have nosebleeds all the time just to make them worse. I mean, we like powerful women superheroes. Don't give them nosebleeds. There's no reason they should ever have a nosebleed, especially for stuff like this. Jean Grey, sure, we could kind of get it. Still dumb, but here it
Still
just makes
dumb.
absolutely no sense. They
It's
probably
like if
just
Captain
copied Fox here.
America It's like if Captain America got a fucking nosebleed while he was, holding onto that helicopter in that ledge of the building. It's
Yeah,
like,
it makes no
why
sense.
would he get a nosebleed? It's
Or like
stupid.
whenever Thor summons lightning, he just starts bleeding out of his nose. It makes no sense. But
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
Invisible Woman, there was a lot of things I got right. I liked how they went into how Reed and her already had a relationship, and I like how they made her much more of a scientist and a lot more of a character than a supporting role as she has been in the 60s, which I greatly appreciated. I think that they started to go in a little bit more into her powers, but they definitely could have amped her up a little bit. And I liked how her relationship with Victor because it was completely one-sided, and I think she did a great job portraying it. Honestly, I like all the subtle nuances between these characters that hint at their college years and things that have happened 10 years ago that are a little bit different now. And I especially like that her and Reed don't have a 10-year fucking age gap because that's weird as fuck. Going into Reed, I think he's one of the better characters in this. I don't think they got anything wrong with him. He's very egotistical. He very much thinks analytically and logically instead of feeling with his heart as this big plot point. He's always the smartest man in the room. The explanation for the white hair, I mean, sure, but then make
That's
it
a
more
dumbass
white.
explanation.
It's only why only that area makes no
They should have
sense.
just done without.
Absolutely. And I liked it. I like the actor. He did a great job in the role. Frankly, I like that they went a little bit more into him being more plastic and then going in rubbery and giving some science explanations for that as to counter him. But it was cool. I mean, even the CGI with in this movie with him like stretching his fingers underneath the door wasn't bad whatsoever. I think he was probably one of the better characters in this movie.
I remember when this movie was announced, and I was like, shit. I have my buddy who's a big fan of the thing was like, dude, who do you think they're gonna cast? I was like, man, I can't even fucking. It's one of those movies where it's weird to me. Like, if you ask me X-Men, we have a fan cast. Batman, we have a fan cast, but Fantastic Four, for some reason, it's hard. I couldn't picture it. And I remember when it was announced, I think I was watching MTV and it was like, oh, Ioan Griffin is taking on the role of Dr. Reed Richards. I was like, as soon as I saw the dude, I was like, I'd never seen him before, but I was like, I could see that dude. I
Yeah.
could see that dude as fucking because the picture they showed of the dude was he was wearing like a suit jacket, nice dress shirt, and for some reason the fucking guy had glasses on. And I was like, I don't know what it is about this dude, but I could see him as Reed Richards. And then when I saw him in Wizard magazine in his actual Fantastic Four suit, I was like, yeah, it's I've talked about this with Griffin fucking probably for the last 4 years, probably every day. Reed is he has to click. And there's just something about certain actors. We went back and forth about the new movie, about who was going to get cast. And 90% of those names didn't cast. And the guy they ended up casting, best of luck to him. Just there's something about him that doesn't click. This guy clicked as soon as I saw him. I buy into him. He really does strike me as the smartest dude in the room. It's one of the things. It's not just his facial features. It's just he strikes me as some guy he plays it so well too.
Yeah.
He's arrogant and egotistical, but without being a prick about it, like Doom, which is awesome because they're both really headstrong about what they want and how they want to do it. But Reed is just, even though he's still a dick, he does it in a way, the actor Griffin, he does it in a way that he doesn't come off, like an asshole. And I think it's because of what Griff said. It's because for him, it's not here, it's here. So he's making these calculations and these decisions as a scientist and not as someone who loves his family. And that's where his dickness comes in. But I like the dynamic between him and Susan, of course. One of the things that the director said was when I did the casting auditions is they played so well off each other. And Susan and Reed have to play well off each other. If no one else, these two have to have chemistry. I also love the dynamic between him and Ben Grimm because that's his best friend. If that friendship's not there, it doesn't, you know. And of course, Johnny Storm, anyone who's married, you're not gonna love your brother-in-law, and your brother-in-law's not gonna love you, and they make that click. But a very important dynamic for me was how is it going to be between Reed and Doom? And I'll get into Doom in a bit, but the dynamic between Reed and Doom, their rivalry, if you will, it's there.
Yeah, and going a little bit more with his relationship with Ben Grimm, I think that was probably the best one between like his relationships because like right from the get-go, from the first scene, you could tell they were best friends. That Ben Grimm always has his back. In every scene, I always believed they were best friends. And the actor did a great job playing the thing. I think even when he was as the thing and when he was Ben Grimm, he did a fantastic job. I think he did a great job with his vulnerability of how he was scared of how he looked and with his ex-girlfriend.
I love that.
Yeah. And then how he
She's a
came to
bitch.
accept it a little bit more. She's total bitch. And then how he came to accept it a little bit more and got accepted into the family. He did a great job.
That scene with the ring,
Dude, that was stupid as fuck.
I don't get my heart broken enough, but thank you, fucking fantastic. You're right. I'd forgotten about. He plays that really well.
Yeah.
Michael Chiklis. When I saw the dude outside of being the thing, I was like, no, why? He's the only one of the four that I was like, this fucking dude, really? I understand why. Wanted Ben to be this big, strong, muscular, and I'm not saying Michael Chiklis is a small dude. He just doesn't strike me as the toughest dude in the room. And because Reed's always had his back by Ben. Ben is Reed's fucking linebacker. You know,
Yeah.
if you step out of line with Reed, Ben will crush your head. So when I saw, I mean, look behind me. When you see Ioan Griffin and Michael Chiklis together, Ioan's taller than him. He's a bigger dude. So that's what kind of sidetracked me. But once he's transformed, once he's actually in the suit, and you can see the emotion of him, like, dude, I'm this monster. And when he
Yeah.
goes to see his fiance and she's just a complete bitch about it, that's heartbreaking shit. And also retelling him, I promise you, dude, I'll fix you.
Yeah. I just wish that Ben trusted Reed a little bit more and Doom wasn't able to manipulate him because like they have 14 plus years of friendship and it was kind of broken like
I could
that.
see why though. I could see
I
why.
get it. I
I mean,
get
given the
it.
fact
I
that he
like if
saw
you
Susan and Reed together,
yeah, like
that's
if
why.
yeah, but then I'll give them the chance to explain themselves. I mean, you have camera footage. Like he was there. He fell asleep at his desk working on this for him. They were gone for maybe an hour or two. I mean,
But he doesn't
everyone
know
needs a
that.
break. I know, just give them a chance to explain instead of just jumping to conclusions. Because I feel like over 14 years, you're gonna trust your like your he's your science partner or whatever and your friend, and you're gonna be able to at least hear him out. But yeah, it's good for the
I get what
plot,
you're
but
saying, but I think because at this point it's desperation. So
it
he's
is
this
very much
monster,
desperation. Especially
and
since
then
Doom
like
told him that he could fix him.
Doom's getting in his head, and then he knows what Reed feels for
Yeah.
Susan. So then seeing them together and seeing Reed not working on the machine, that's why he lost his shit.
Yeah, I get it. And then I think Chris Evans as Human Torch, it's a good casting. I don't like the haircut. I very much like his hair, how it was like Deadpool and Wolverine. That was so much better. I don't like this almost buzz. But other than that, he's arrogant, hot-headed. He goes off and rides motorcycles and crashes. He snowboards. He is an adrenaline junkie. He does a great job. I think Chris Evans gets a lot of shit for this role, but I don't think it's necessarily
I don't
deserved.
know why. I never
He did
understood
a
the
good
shit.
job. It's just I
He
hate the
he
hair.
played Johnny Storm. I swear to Christ, it's that this dude sat there, read every comic he could, and he played Johnny as exactly as I envisioned Johnny. Here's funny thing. So I 2000s, early 2000s. So I kind of, the rest of my adult life, these were the Fantastic Four. When he was cast as Captain America, I had such an issue with it because I was like, that bratty, snobby fucking kid from Fantastic Four is not gonna play Captain America. That's weird. Completely was able to do both jobs. Perfect. I mean, when he's Steve Rogers, he's so Steve Rogers, and when he's Johnny, he's so Johnny. I mean, that's a tribute to the guy's talent, man. He knocked it out of the ballpark. I didn't mind his haircut, but a lot of people did, and he did get a lot of shit for this role, and I don't understand the shit, the hate. Honestly, he played Johnny the way Johnny's supposed to be.
Also, Johnny would definitely say those things in Deadpool and Wolverine. He would
Yes,
100% say
100%. I
that.
believe. Here's the thing. So we're at the movies, and because my wife doesn't know the characters, she's like, he wouldn't say that. I was like, he would absolutely say. I believe. Here's the thing. I told her and cousin of ours that went, yeah, I believe him. He would absolutely say that shit. And then later
Yeah.
on, we get the clip where yeah, Johnny's a shit talker. He
Yeah.
doesn't know how to shut up. The
And
Johnny
he
I know
doesn't
anyway.
shut up for a single goddamn scene in this movie.
Exactly. Even when Thing threatens to crush him, he won't. He's that guy that even with an incoming ass whooping, won't shut the hell up.
Yep.
And I love the dynamic now saying that between him and Ben Grimm.
Oh yeah.
I
It's
can I
I like
can
that a lot.
understand why Ben is like, Jesus, dude, just shut the hell up, man. And he fucks with him the whole movie.
Yeah.
Even before his transformation, he's messing with the dude. I love that. And now finally, Doctor Doom. Um, I was excited for Doom because again, in Wizard magazine, they showed the first official image of Doctor Doom. And it's just from the chest up. So to me, I was like, holy shit, he's in his green cape and hood and he's got the mask. So I was like, that looks like we're getting a perfect Doctor Doom. And we did not. And that fucking upset. Okay, so I don't, I disagree with Griffin here. I don't love the actor that plays Victor. I don't hate him, but I don't love him.
I don't love him either. I think he's good in the role, but I wouldn't say he's the best. I still want Cillian Murphy.
That shit's never gonna happen. You don't have to agree with us, and you don't have to be comic book purists. But I guess that's my issue. I read the comics growing up. I've seen the animated series, and so you don't have to copy and paste from page to screen. But there are certain liberties I think you shouldn't be able to take with these kind of characters. So his name is Victor Von Doom. I do appreciate that. But he's more, in my opinion, he's more of a business tycoon here than he is an actual scientist, magician, and that fucks with me. And we see that he kind of loses his company. He comes back and gets revenge. Then he gets fucking sent to Latveria. We see Latveria for like a small second at the end of the film. He's not a monarch in the comics. He rules Latveria. Yeah, he took it by force, but let's be honest, we have a whole video on how he actually improved Latveria. So here, he has no, okay, so here, I'm just gonna fucking say this. This dude fucking shoots lightning from his hands, like Emperor Palpatine. Can Doctor Doom shoot lightning from his hands in the comics and in lore? Sure. By conjuring up a fucking spell, not because he could suck the power from the outlets. That's dumb. He's with the Fantastic Four on the spaceship because it's his space station, because he's got all the money in the world. That makes sense. He's with them when they get, suffer their accident, so he gets mutated too. His DNA was transformed by the metal in his space station. So gradually throughout the movie, he starts peeling off chunks of his flesh, and underneath, he has his skin is becoming metallic. It's said in the movie it's stronger than diamond, which they're trying to say fucking adamantium or vibranium, but they didn't, which is stupid because this is from Fox and Fox owns the X-Men, so fuck you, Fox. But anyway, so that's how he gets metal, not by putting on an armor, which is dumb. There's a helmet that was given to him, a mask helmet that was given to him by the people at Latveria, because I guess he's such a good, person to his own nation, and he ends up putting that on with essentially like a trench coat with like a hood. So that's your Doctor Doom. The dynamic, the rivalry between him and Reed is there. They went to MIT together. I'm glad they kept that. Victor's always hated Reed. He's always been jealous. So it started off as jealousy, which is aligned with the comics. He's always been jealous of Reed because Reed is smarter. Very much like in the comics, Reed warns him that there's a calculation that's a bit off. Doom tells him not to worry. He says, my shields will protect us. Doom is fucking wrong. And they get these powers. And then Doom is a dick about it. And he's like, dude, because of you, we suffer. And Reed tells him to his face, no, I didn't miscalculate. I told you it was going to happen. You didn't listen to me.
He did miscalculate,
Um,
but yeah, they're both at blame here.
yeah, but it's I miss the magician aspect of Doctor. I just want to see Doctor Doom in Latveria sitting in his fucking throne room, drinking out of a, big ass
Goblet.
cup, goblet, ordering his Doombots around, wearing an actual, and grant you, in the previous movie we saw, he is actually wearing a more accurate costume, but it's all fucking plastic and cheap. My issues with Doom are that it's just that it's not he's Doom only in name. And it gets worse as we continue to watch these movies.
And then the story in general for this movie, I feel like it started so well, but it just fell apart at the end of the second act, and then the third act just got really boring and slow and a bit repetitive as we've had these fights and the dynamics between the Fantastic Four for the entire movie. And when you sit there and just see the same thing over and over and over again for an hour, it just gets really repetitive. It started really good, and then it's only downhill from there. I'm not a big fan of the suits. I get it, the, but it's just I don't like the coloration. I wish it was little bit of a lighter blue, maybe with some white in there. This is sadly the best out of the Fantastic Four movies we've gotten, but I would still say it's by no means a good movie. There's definitely good aspects, and it even starts off well. It's just I don't know what it is. They just can't get this shit right, and they have decades of source material, and for some reason, the directors just don't want to read it.
I don't know what it is either. I do disagree with Griffin. I do like the suits. I am not a fan of the lighter blue. I've never liked like
I love
really
lighter
light blue.
like this color.
Um,
This is the color I want.
and I thought the suits worked. I thought as soon as I saw them, I was like, yeah, that's Fantastic Four.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go check out our trailer reaction to Fantastic Four First Steps that was just released. And thank you guys so much.
Take care, guys.